Hey everybody, Todd Linder here, and I'm with Eric, and I'm really excited for Eric to share his story of how he made a transition from a background in ministry in a really cool organization, moving into a really awesome job in a such an aligned organization that you might have heard of doing really, really cool things in the world. So really excited for you to share your story, Eric. I just want to kick it over to you right from the beginning. Where were you, if we can recall back, because it was a little while ago, where were you in your job search, in your process before we got started working together?
Yeah, so I was working in a organization in Christian publishing, basically as a creative director. So I was very ministry adjacent, parachurch adjacent, but really that organization was very focused on building books, building resources for Christians. And so very definitely like in ministry area. And unfortunately, company restructured. I was there for about 5 years. Company restructured, and I was unemployed for a couple months and started working with Todd. So that's the background there. Doing a lot of creative work, to unemployed. I was a little bit worried about my forward trajectory on that.
And so as you were in that season of unemployment, trying to figure out what was next, what made you reach out to us?
So I initially thought, hey, I'm just going to play the resume game and I'm just going to start reaching out on LinkedIn to applying to different jobs and whatnot. And I thought I had like a fairly decent resume. I didn't have any big work gaps. Prior to working in Christian publishing, I had my own marketing firm. And so I had like stuff in my resume that I thought would work. And basically for the first 2 months, I was unemployed, I think from April to September. The first few months, I just I was just focused on, filling out applications and stuff. The problem was, like, I had a 0 callback rate, and I would apply and apply and apply and apply and apply, probably 100 resumes, every week, just not getting anything back, and so that was, like, demoralizing, frustrating, felt like the job market was closed, and I really did wonder if I'm sure I said this to my wife. I was like, maybe they're just not hiring. Maybe nobody's hiring right now. They have all these positions, but maybe they're not hiring. And so it was super frustrating. And I think I came across some stuff from Todd on LinkedIn talking about working with people who came out of ministry to go into the marketplace and go into the workforce. And it really resonated with me. I was like, is this guy legit? I don't know if he's legit, but what he's saying is making sense. I just hope that he can help me transition and like actually move the needle. I had a couple months severance from my job and then I went on to unemployment and I said, I'm taking my unemployment. I'm taking that first month. I'm taking the second month. I'm going to give it to Todd and we're going to see if we can move the needle and see what happens. And that's how I think we got in contact and started working together.
Yeah. So what made you pull the trigger? Because you and I were talking about your situation and we got on a call. What made you end up pulling the trigger to work with us?
So I was super skeptical. I was just like not sure if you were legit. And I think that just comes from the absence of LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be hard because you get a lot of influx of like people talking to you and whatnot. And so I just felt like, I don't know, like if this is gonna work. When we talked through some stuff about even my resume, if it was put together correctly. And I was like, I don't really understand how reorienting my resume could be a primary thing of me getting a call back. And so I said to Todd, I said, if I do this and I pay you this money and I'm not hired in like 8 months, what's going to happen, dude? And I don't remember. I think you gave me, I want to say you gave me a money back guarantee, but you said, we're going to get you hired. I don't think you need to worry about that. And as I was like, okay, fine, I'll trust you. Like, let's go, let's do it. And so we started working together. Yeah.
Little reluctant, maybe a little skeptical, but I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I actually enjoyed having that conversation because,
Yeah.
like, I'm just some guy, right? We just do what we do, and
Yeah.
I think that's. And I'm going a little off script here, and maybe we'll come back around this at the end. But I think that skepticism is probably you're not the only one who
Yeah.
feels that
Sure.
skepticism. And so there's probably somebody who's watching this right now who's been like, is this legit? Is this
Yeah.
and so I want to come back around that a little bit. But how would you describe like we talked about where you were. How would you describe where you are now in work and in
Yeah. Yeah. So I was fired. I was off in April. I was hired in September on contract with the company that I work for. I'm time saying their name there. It's State Driven Movements. And then I work with Solving the World's Greatest Problems. So the organization is just a really, really cool place to work. They really wanted to see, hey, are you going to fit into our culture? And so they hired me on contract. And then eventually that led to an on staff position. But I went from senior designer at Solving the World's Greatest Problems. I was there for about 6 months, and then I transitioned to director of website and graphics in a great promotion, working with a really cool team that I get to manage here. And that's just, I mean, the job in general, just having a job in general, so helpful. I trust God with my finances, and I trust God will lead in the way that I'm supposed to go for my job. And when that gets put to the test, where you're like, I don't know where the next money is coming from, that is amazingly frustrating. But then also when you're eventually able to transition in with that job and you're like, this, I can see this is how God orchestrated this and where he wants me to be, then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, now my money can go to work for God. Now thank you, money to go to work for God." It's the, you trust me with little, so then he will give me much to use for his kingdom. But yeah, man, that's where I am today. The organization is really awesome. I enjoy what I do. I feel like there are a lot of different areas that I could have gone into, but this just seemed to be really well fit to my skill sets and stepped right into organizations and able to like really move the needle for them on a lot of things.
man, that's awesome. So it's not just getting to be a part of a great organization, not just getting to be a part of a or be in a role that fits you, but also a role where you're making a big impact at the organization itself. It's not like you're
Yeah.
just like a cog in a machine. Like you're doing things that are making the moving of the needle, as we've said. So
Mhm.
last question. If somebody is watching this and they're like, I resonate with Eric, I'm a little bit of a skeptic. I've seen this works for other people, but is this actually legit? If someone's on the fence, what would you tell them?
This is not magic. Like you're not gonna sign up here and magically something's gonna happen. There is a lot of work to it. And I think the process that Todd has created for taking your resume from X, translating it into something that actually makes sense to a marketplace employer, and then working the connections around you to actually get interviews with the companies. After I started working with Todd and we went through a lot of that work, I started getting callbacks, which was mind blowing. It was just mind blowing because I had worked so hard and I thought I had something worth presenting and I just wasn't making any traction. So I don't want to say that it's magic, but I do want to say just give it a try, honestly. Like put in the work, get everything transitioned well and like it did work for me. It did work for me, and I appreciate it so much, Todd. I mean, like, I'm a big fan of the organization now just because I know it works for me, and I'm like, I don't want other people to be sitting out here, coming out of ministry, not being able to find a job and just, like, see the solution, and you can do it. So,
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. And one of the things that I want to acknowledge you for publicly, you know I was going to do this, but Eric has been a continual supporter of others in the group. And I mean, even I think it was yesterday, you sent me a job board and you're like, I know people here. We can get people from the group hired here. Like, I'll make the connection. And you're not the only one that does that. But I just want to acknowledge you though, that like,
thank
thank
you.
you
Yeah.
for reinvesting in the group that doesn't go unnoticed. I'm very grateful for that. And just for other people, like it's not just the process, there's a community element to it as well. And Eric's still a part of that community in that way. So thank you
You're
for,
welcome. Yeah.
for continuing to support, be a part.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when people come into your organization, one of the things that has been said to me when I was hired, my company is they knew that the people that Tom was working with were high quality individuals who really were going to work well in the organization. And so I think there are people that you know that are primed that are like, hey, we would love to work with somebody that Todd sends our way, and that's a huge helpful part of your organization. It's not exclusive because I think there's a lot of legwork that people have to do when they get on board. But yeah, it definitely helps. So I've been so glad, man. I'm glad we came across each other on LinkedIn and that I decided to just, throw it all in there. And hey, it was a good use. It was a good use of my funds. I never looked back.
I love it. Well, man, thanks so much for spending some time today. And thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you in another video.